Hello and welcome to the first episode of my Let's Build series. This time I felt inspired, so I wanted to tackle creating a PvP, specifically capture the flag map. I've put maybe like 5 hours of work into this total, and I'm happy at the state it's at so far. I probably would have recorded it earlier, but I just wanted to make sure I was able to get it to a place where I felt like there was something to show. So basically I'm going for, it's overused, I know, but a medieval-esque theme. I was kind of inspired by the way that I want to do it is inspired slightly by Castle Wars in RuneScape, if any of you have ever played that. But I have plans to create 2 castles in opposite corners with like a stream in the middle and villages and houses. And as I progress, I'll be filling you guys in on what I've completed and sometimes showing my building process of creating these things. But for now, my main goal is to create the castles first. Let's just say I got into a bit of a building groove. I needed voxel, so I moved the whole thing to JJ's world, and I just had inspiration. So I decided to build a lot of different things. And in brief, I'm going to run through all of them, but hopefully in the future I'm going to be recording it as my thoughts before, during, and after building this. So a brief history of what's been going on here. I had a few people come over and give opinions about how I should do the layout, and Minnie built this circular. I probably shouldn't be breaking this. I'll show this later. But Minnie built this circular building here in the middle, and I thought it was a great idea because if you're coming down from either castle on either side, you can't go directly in. You have to go through the side. So it's a much less direct route, and that adds chances for conflict, and it stops the game from being just really straightforward, just running from one point to the other. The next thing I tackled were the rivers here, and this one was the first one that I did, and that one was the second one, and I'll show you in a second, but you can see a clear difference between the quality of these 2 rivers, but basically I wanted these to just flow down into this sewer area here and just be a natural land barrier so that you couldn't really get across it. You have lily pads to jump across as well, and the other river over here is a little bit more windy, a little bit more natural looking. I'm a lot more proud of this one than the other one, but it just does the same thing, serves the same purpose. You can't really jump across it in one go, but you can jump over the lily pads pretty easily. It's not too difficult, but it does take a bit of coordination, so you're not just running in a straight line toward your target. That's the main goal of this map, to allow for more variety in movement and allow for different ways to get from point A to point B, so that everyone doesn't always take the most direct route, because the most direct route might also be the most dangerous. As with most voxel projects, I started out with this entire thing just being a sheet of stone. So once I gradually carved out these, I started to build up the terrain and try to make it, not flat, because flat terrain is just boring. So I wanted to create a giant hill for each of the 2 castles, but then smaller hills for lookout towers, as well as other houses that may hold other secrets. So I'm pretty happy with the way this terrain came out. It can be a bit obvious that it was voxel work at times, like these blocks, they aren't normally there, but I'm pretty happy the way it came out because I'm a novice when it comes to voxel terrain and trying to make terrain look natural. So I think, at least for my skills, this is pretty good for me right now. Obviously, it can be tweaked later, but I was happy with it enough to the point where I decided to start overlaying grass. So that was the next step I took. I overlaid grass on all of this, and then I overlaid the sand as well as dirt and gravel in the rivers. Now, completely plain grass is boring, right? So obviously you need some sort of variation, and that comes in the form of the different grasses, but I'm pretty sure most of you will agree that this right now is overkill. Well, that's because I had the intention of using World Edit to destroy about 60 to 70% of them, but World Edit does not allow me to place these, only to destroy them. So, unfortunately, I have to go through and destroy them by hand and make it a little bit less like an overgrown lawn that somebody's neglected for 20 years. But I do like the grasses. I got rid of all the flowers because they really didn't look like it was the right place for them. One of my next steps for terraforming is going to be getting rid of all this grass, and that's probably one of the last things I'm going to do with the terrain itself, other than adding specific details. After I got done with the basics, however, I got to the fun parts, building individual buildings and structures, and maybe a little bit of tricky redstone hidden around. But the first things that I built was this. I believe it was this one. Was it? I don't know. One or the other. I built one of these, and it was originally pretty square, and I wasn't really happy with it, so I added a little bit of depth. There's not much you can really do with, like, what is this, 7x7 area, but I'm happy. It's a little watchtower. It does exactly what I want it to. Indicates which side you're on. You can go up here. It looks broken. And you go up the ladder. More broken. Go up the ladder again. And then here you are. And from here, you can snipe different people. You can also be sniped. It's not too hidden. As well as if you're in danger, you can easily, a la Assassin's Creed, jump out into safety without fall damage, and then run away. I had originally created only one watchtower, but since I liked the way it turned out, I decided to copy it over to the other side and make it an even team. And in the end, that makes a lot more sense to have the teams even, because just one side having a watchtower is a bit unfair. Most of the things in this map are pretty even. Each side, you see, has a bridge. Each side has two entrances. This side here has a pond, and this side is a ditch. I didn't want it to be exactly identical to each side. Very few things have been copied. I copied this over, I copied the bridge, and then I copied the giant hill for the castle, but then I dealt with all the pre-existing terraforming I had done on the other side. And this is the part where it gets fun. See this entrance here? It's closed. You can toggle it from either side, regardless of if it's open or not. So if that one shuts it, you can just flick it again, and it'll open and close. So it doesn't really matter which side is toggling what. It may take an extra toggle to make it work again, but each side can toggle it. So that also helps to for individual players to control the flow of movement, which is pretty nice. And I figure since this is medieval-ish, there should be some rudimentary portcullises, if that's the plural form, I don't even know, as well as rudimentary drawbridges. Now this I came up with because I don't know, I just decided to be evil one day. So you see right there and right there, right in front of the bridges, I press this button, they both retract. Just for a moment. But that's enough for if enemy is charging and you're in your base. My intention is to have this toggle within the base. But if the enemy is charging, you can press it and they fall straight into lava. And this uses, once again, the bridge mechanic, and this uses the gate mechanic of Craftbook. And the last major thing I built here so far was starting on the inside of this round central area. I added lights to make it a little bit more lit up, and I added these to make the room seem a bit more rounded and a lot less jagged on the edges. I added the spruce logs to break up all of the stone bricks. Just pretty simple stuff there. And I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with this yet. Maybe just a giant central sniper perch, or potentially, if I can, have some sort of like loot up here maybe, or something or other. But I like having a central tower where you can. I might even add like glass in the middle of this, or like a staircase, just to make it a little bit more difficult to navigate, but also more interesting for combat. So that's the way it is right now, and I think my next goal is going to be completing this, probably adding a staircase and creating some sort of lookout here, as well as finally either starting the castles themselves or starting individual houses. I'm probably going to put maybe like a house here and then a little shack, and then same thing for the other side, a house there and a little shack. So I'll check back in with you guys when I've made some progress with that. Well, for the time being, this is the finished product of this tower. I added some guardrails here so that you can continually run up or down without having to worry about running off. But there is still this hole in the middle. So if you, say, are sniping from all the way up at the top, and you misstep, you could fall all the way down. Luckily there's water, but you also lose your position. So there's gains and losses to that. But I like the way that this turned out. I'm using the same roof style as I did over there with the cobble walls and the spruce. But I think it looks nice. I think it works. It's much more, the opening is much wider than the ones over there. Probably because like this is supposed to be like a central battle point, and like if you control this point, like you can rain hellfire upon your enemies from here, from either side. So it's a really important and key point, and I want it to be powerful so that people do fight over it and don't just ignore it as that tower in the middle of the map. The next thing I built was a lowly outhouse. Now, if you've caught on by now, everything in this map has little secrets. So, come into here, press the button, and you fall down into the sewers. Got some mood lighting, and then the neck-high water, which is created from... I'm walking on the bottom half slabs right now. I always love this effect, and then the creepy lighting effect glitches due to the glowstone and slabs. And then you get brought down into here. I figure I should do this with night vision so that you guys can actually see things, but currently these are completely dark, secret tunnels that are there's going to be a whole web of them underneath the map, and they will be connected to many of the different houses. So there's a ton of different paths, and you can go in one way, come out the other side of the map, and somebody else in the tunnels, you may not even see them at all. So that's how complex I hope to make them. So they'll connect to all the houses, as well as things like the sewer and such, so you have many, many different paths that you can sneak into the other person's base. And who knows, maybe you can sneak into the other's base if you lose your dignity and swim up through the toilets. Over the past few days I've been working hard on this map, and what I've come up with is essentially a finished product. I'd say it's 97-98% complete. What I've created here are the castles. They have multiple levels, multiple entrances. So there are 2 entrances here. There would normally be iron doors here, but I removed them for the sake of accessibility. But these are the spawns for each. Both castles are identical. You come up here, and there's a little tree. And you come up here as well. And this is a vantage point here. that you can snipe people from. Nice sniper window. It's a good vantage point. You can see a lot from here, but you're also not too protected, so it gives you high offense but also low defense, which is a good trade-off. And here is where the flag is. And I made this a bit precarious, so it's a bit more dangerous to get the flag, but yeah, not making things easy on you guys. Another addition to the map is this house here. It's a tiny little house. You wouldn't really suspect too much of it. Broken floors. But you go up here. Nice little place to hide. Can't be seen here. You can hide out, camp out with the flag. And here, if you're careless, like I tested this on both Madam and JJ, and their first reaction was to just run straight at this, and they fell. So that was my perfect proof of concept that it works and people will fall for that. So, but if you just jump, you'll hit the ladder perfectly, be able to jump on the top, and then run away safely. So even in the attic, you're not completely trapped, which is a nice addition, I think. If you look in the back here, there's a trap door. I wonder where that leads. In each of the castles, I also wired up the 2 bridges, left and right respectively. You press it, and it will open up. So you can control it from within the castle, which is pretty nice, and you can also see your effect. Just to fill this space here, I made a little well, but as you can probably tell from all the other things in my map, it's not just a little well. You'll have to play the map to figure out what secrets it has in store. And then there's my masterpiece, the secret tunnels, mine shafts that weave and bend all throughout the map. They lead to nearly every single landmark in the map, so you can get basically anywhere from here. See, I just ran into a ladder here. That goes up somewhere. But you can literally get anywhere on the map by going through all of these tunnels. Of course, they're not without the dangers. It's got a lot of cobwebs. You could potentially fall through the map or just get stuck and your enemy attack you, so you gotta be careful. And that's essentially the finished product for this map. I had a lot of fun building this, and this took many, many hours to build, but I'm happy my first large build, even in creative, is finally complete, and I hope we can play it soon. The only things I have left to do are thin out some of the grass, and make a few more tweaks, maybe some gameplay tweaks, and get some feedback from other people, but for all intents and purposes, my first CTF arena, my first minigame arena, is complete. Hopefully I'll work on some more, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode as I attempt to build some prop hunt maps. Till next time, see ya. So you want to know who donated for you? You're going to have to work for that. Some players have volunteered to place books around the servers for you to... Servers? Does that mean FTB too? For you to find. To find the answer you seek, you must travel to each set of coordinates and find all of the books.